Every 4 years, the whole planet quietly loses its mind. Offices empty out. Grown adults cry in public and nobody finds it strange. Entire countries stop functioning because a ball went a few inches wide of a post. And somewhere in the middle of all of it, there's you, mildly annoyed that your feed is suddenly all jerseys. You've probably been told you're a little cold for this. Maybe someone has looked at you with real concern, like not caring about a football tournament is a symptom worth getting checked. But here's the thing, nobody stops to ask. The strange behavior in this room isn't yours. You're the calm one, watching something bizarre happen to everyone else. So the real question isn't what's wrong with you. It's why billions of people care this much about something they have zero control over. Strangers kicking a ball in a country they'll never visit, and somehow it ruins their entire week. Stay with me, because by the end you'll understand what those people are getting out of it, why your brain won't hook onto the same thing, and why the experience you're supposedly missing is younger than your grandmother. That last one is the part that surprised me. Let's start with the pronoun. Watch what a fan says after a win. We won. We were unstoppable. Now watch the same person after a loss. They played terribly. The coach got it wrong. Notice the switch. When it goes well, it's we. When it goes badly, it quietly becomes they. Same person, same sofa, two completely different relationships to 11 men they've never met. Most people never notice they're doing it. Listen for it once, and you'll hear it everywhere. And there's a reason it happens. A psychologist named Robert Cialdini documented this back in 1976. He found students were far more likely to wear their college's gear the morning after a win than after a loss. They hadn't played. Most hadn't even watched. But standing near the victory felt like owning a piece of it. He called it basking in reflected glory, and what he was really describing is how people borrow self-esteem from a group. When the group wins, you win. When it loses, you step back and let them hold it. That's the first thing you're not doing. Everyone around you is running a quiet little program that tops up their mood using other people's results. You just never installed it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The grown man genuinely down on a Monday because of a Saturday result. He didn't lose anything. He just rented some borrowed glory, and the check bounced, so that's why they feel like they won. Here's the second thing, and it's about why they can't look away. Think about the most painful kind of match. The score's tied, the clock's running out, and the whole thing could swing either way. That uncertainty isn't a flaw in the experience. It is the drug. Your brain's reward system doesn't just fire when something good happens. It fires hardest in the not knowing, the will it or won't it. There's one other place that exact feeling shows up, and you already know it. You just won't love the comparison. It's the same mechanism that makes a slot machine almost impossible to walk away from. You don't know if the next pull pays, so you stay. A stoppage time goal is just the jackpot that lands right after you'd accepted the loss. Sports run on the exact reward loop that makes gambling sticky. But here's the catch, and it's the part that explains you completely. The whole thing rests on one small condition, and you don't meet it. That loop only works if you've already picked a side. The tension needs a stake. If you have no team, no flag, nobody you're quietly pulling for, the uncertainty has nothing to grab onto. It isn't that you feel less. There's just no hook for the feeling to catch on. Without a stake, 90 minutes of a tight match is watching a coin flip in slow motion, which is exactly what it looks like to you. You're not numb. You're just not in the bet. You know the moment. You got dragged to the bar, the whole place is on its feet, someone's knocked over a beer and is screaming about it, and you're the one who just quietly checked the time on your phone. Not bored exactly, just on the other side of the glass, watching a feeling you can see clearly and can't quite catch. And the World Cup cranks this up in a way club football doesn't. Suddenly it isn't just a team. It's your country, your flag, your whole identity riding on 11 players you've never met. For some people that makes it bigger. For others, it just makes it stranger. You didn't choose where you were born, and now you're meant to feel personally victorious because a man from the same place kicked a ball into a net. That's not you hating where you're from. Your relationship with it is just messier than a flag on a jersey can hold. Now here's the third one, and This is the part that actually reframed the whole thing for me. Everyone talks about sports fandom like it's ancient, tribal, hardwired into us since we lived in caves. And here's the thing. That part is true. Ancient Romans picked a chariot team and completely lost it. They rioted in the streets over the blues and the greens. Men were buried as lifelong supporters of a racing color. A Roman writer was already baffled that grown men cared this much almost 2,000 years ago. So no, you can't wave this off as some modern invention. Picking a side and feeling its wins as your own is genuinely old. Sit with that for a second, because it makes your not caring look like the odd one out again. But here's what actually changed, and it's smaller and stranger than people think. The Roman in the stands wasn't alone. He was packed in with 100,000 actual neighbors, people he'd see again the next morning. The belonging was in the crowd around him, not the chariots. The version most of us run now is different. You feel it alone, on a couch, bonded to players who will never know your name through a screen, in a relationship that only goes one way. Researchers named that back in the 1950s, when television first started inventing these one-sided bonds with strangers you could only watch. So when someone tells you you're missing some deep, universal human experience, here's the quiet truth. The instinct is ancient, but this exact shape of it, grieving alone in your kitchen for strangers who don't know you exist, that part is younger than color TV, which means you might not be missing the old thing at all. You might just be running it the way humans actually did for most of our history, by pouring it into the people around you instead of into a screen. I'm not saying that to dunk on fans, by the way. I want to be fair here, because the research is fair to them too. People who are deeply into their team genuinely get something out of it. Less loneliness, a built-in sense of meaning, a whole social lifeline that shows up every weekend. That's not nothing. For a lot of people, it's the thing quietly holding the week together. The line worth drawing isn't fan versus non-fan. It's belonging that fits versus belonging you're faking, because the room expects it. The person who lights up when their country scores and feels the loss the next day, they're getting the real thing. The person next to them, faking excitement because opting out feels socially expensive, they're just tired. You already know which one you'd be. So if your belonging instinct didn't disappear, where did it go? Because it didn't vanish. You're human. You have it. You just built the scaffolding somewhere else. A craft you're a little obsessed with. A friend group where you feel actually known. A project or a handful of people who light you up the way a last-second goal lights up a stadium. Your tribe exists. It just doesn't wear a jersey. And here's where it lands. The reason you don't care about the World Cup was never coldness, and it was never a flaw. Your attachment system isn't missing. It's just already spoken for. It found somewhere else to live. Probably somewhere quieter, somewhere you chose instead of inherited. I'm not going to tell you to go watch a match. That would miss the point. But it's worth knowing where your version of that stadium roar actually is. The thing, or the people, you genuinely grieve losing. Most people never name it. If you can, you're not the one missing out. Because all the flags and the face paint and the crying in the streets, underneath it, there was only ever people reaching for the feeling of not being alone in something. You just found a different door to the same room, and there are far more of us in here than the noise outside would ever let you guess.